According to a 2014 study, 74% of adults use social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. These sites allow for people to share, message, like, post, and it would seem like all the ways to stay connected will lead to a positive outcome. Not all social media is used to stay up to date in the evolving digital world. In fact, it might be changing the way we view the world and more specifically, view beauty. A recent survey by Dove found that 82% of women believe that social media is affecting the way we define beauty. With so many images, advertisements, and ideas behind what is beauty flooding these platforms, beauty product companies like Dove, Pantene, Always, and Gillette have taken it into their own hands to create compelling and inspiring campaigns to try and change the way women and girls see beauty.
I think it's a new thing. I don't think this is something that I ever remember seeing growing up or even in my 20s or 30s. This is definitely, and while it's aimed at women, I think it's more aimed at little girls because the media is so impactful on preteens and teenagers. So while the marketing and the demographic that the product ultimately reaches is the consumer, the grown-up consumer, we all know that children are consumers of media.
According to Time magazine, Always demonstrated the brand's mission to empower females and attack what they call a self-esteem crisis among young girls. The goal was to show women and girls that being a girl should be celebrated and that it shouldn't be used as an insult.
It's not really empowering, I don't think. It's just showing where you're headed, and it's almost more depressing because it's not actually changing anything or changing anyone's viewpoints.
Empowerment ads have become increasingly viral and popular over the past few years, and Dove has been one of the brands that has been there from the start. The company's Real Beauty ads aim to grow women's confidence and change the way they see themselves. Most recently, Dove's campaign #SpeakBeautiful launched, with the goal to not only change the way women see themselves, but to change the way the talk about beauty online and, more importantly, social media is used. Researchers say social media is playing a huge role in how it shapes and strengthens a woman or girl's idea of what beauty should be.
I think if you see people on social media and they're talking about how much they don't like themselves, that kind of has an impact on you. If somebody's saying, I'm so fat all the time, then you might kind of get those messages from your friends and then start feeling like, well, maybe there's something wrong with me too.
According to the Huffington Post, 4 out of 5 negative tweets about both beauty and body image by women will be critiquing themselves.
I try to avoid using social media to portray myself in a negative light. I don't think I've ever used it that way before, but I do see a lot of other women frequently using it for such things, like posting pictures and then saying how bad they look in the picture or something. And I think it is used to get attention sometimes, because then you see a lot of the comments like, no, you're really pretty and stuff like that. And I just think like it's unnecessary, and you're going to influence other people to feel bad about themselves sometimes, I think. So it would be better to like be positive, but I think there's a line there too. You don't want to be like overly complimenting yourself on social media because people don't like that either.
Several beauty product companies are trying to change the negativity, but critics say that these campaigns are just the tactics of big brands trying to sell and market their product.
The primary issue I would say with that, of course, is intersectionality, in the sense that no matter what a campaign does or doesn't do, it's still trying to sell you something. So the effect of capitalism, which is always going to be fueled by hegemonic patriarchal beauty standards, right? Doesn't mean we can't undercut those things, the Dove campaign being primary among them, but even in that case, Dove and Axe are owned by the same company, and so you have Axe, which forwards a very stereotypical standard of masculinity. Simultaneously, you have Dove, whose whole campaign right now is embrace your difference, embrace your beauty.
While Dove's attempts to spread positivity on the internet are headed in the right direction, some say that it's hard to ignore that Dove is owned by the same company that sends conflicting and subliminal messages reflecting negatively on Dove's own message. These advertisements raise the question, who is deciding what is beauty?
My bigger concern typically comes with the way in which capitalism interacts with any new form of media. Which isn't to say that there's a problem with capitalism per se, but it is to say that inevitably what happens is in order to sell more, to make more, to do more with your product, you latch on to the newest form of communicating with people. It happened with radio, it happened with television, it's happening with social media. The end result of it, I think, is that the big companies win out. And they will get to determine, as usual, what beauty is.
I think it definitely puts pressure on girls to like look a certain way, and especially with Instagram out there, you know, there's hundreds and thousands of pictures of people, and they're right there at your phone or on your iPod or your iPad to look through every day. And I think that, you know, constantly being exposed to photos like that, it kind of sets a standard of what people think they need to look like, not necessarily coming to think about what they think that they should look like. So in a way, like, society is still setting the standard for how women should look.
Some supporters say that Dove's campaign positively reflects genuine attempts at spreading good messages, and many are taking to the trend.
I think behind the big brands are trying to do good things. Also, I mean, obviously they're a business and they want to make money, but I think that they have a brand personality of being caring and genuine, and having campaigns like this speaks to their brand personality.
I think it's understandable that people think that, you know, big brands like Dove are just doing that to promote their company. But the way that the Dove commercial was presented, it wasn't like they were saying, oh, you need this exact product. They didn't show any of their products. They were just showing that this is what the company thinks. And yeah, I think it is necessary for a big name company to do that, because it would have a bigger influence than like a smaller company. They're able to get the word out faster.
Some still are hesitant of the overall effects of these campaigns, saying that it is unable to define whether or not these campaigns can be labeled as good or bad.
I don't think you can think about it in terms of morality. Like, good and bad end up not applying because there's nobody in a tower somewhere twirling his villainous mustache. They just are. And that's one of the scarier parts of society. Terrible things happen, great things happen. Most things just are.
Some men and women have taken to social media to express their dislikes for these campaigns. Dove's Real Beauty ads and Speak Beautiful campaign received much backlash, with non-supporters pointing out that the internet still remains a hostile place for women, even with uplifting commercials and campaigns. Some say that big brands shouldn't even be telling women how they can use social media, and that they should be free to use it how they choose. One thing is for certain. These campaigns have started an ongoing conversation of how beauty is defined.